Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into the UK gardening equipment market.
Yep, looking at what's happening right now and, well, what's just around the corner.
We've got some pretty solid market analysis here to guide us. We want to help you understand the sort of key shifts in how we're gardening.
And how the big names, the major players, are trying to keep up or even lead the way.
Exactly. And here's something to kick us off. A bit of a startling fact, maybe.
Go on.
Experts are predicting that the market for robotic lawnmowers, just in the UK, is set to grow by about 11% every single year between 2024 and 2030.
Wow, 11% CAGR. That's pretty punchy. It's not just incremental growth, is it?
No, it feels like more than that. It suggests a real change, maybe, in how we view lawn maintenance.
It absolutely does. I mean, that kind of number points towards something bigger than just, wanting convenience.
Right.
It hints at a fundamental shift, perhaps, in how we value our time in the garden, what tasks we're happy to, hand over to technology. And to really get that, we need to look at the bigger picture, all the forces shaping the gardening scene here in the UK.
Okay, let's do that. Let's unpack those macro forces.
Yeah.
What are the main things influencing, what gear we actually buy?
Well, the economy is always a factor. No surprise there.
Sure.
Inflation worries.
Exactly. People are, understandably a bit more careful with their money right now. But what's interesting is that the data we're looking at suggests people are still willing to invest in their gardens.
Really? Despite the caution.
Yeah, it seems they're looking for quality, maybe, and things that last. Value.
So seeing the garden as a longer-term investment, home improvement, that kind of thing.
Precisely. Maybe spending money there instead of, say, a holiday or eating out quite as much, making the most of their own space.
That makes a lot of sense. When things are tight, your home base becomes even more important. What else is at play?
The weather. Definitely the weather.
Always a British obsession. Well, yes. We see those short-term spikes, don't we? A dry spell hits, and suddenly everyone needs a new hose pipe or watering can.
True.
But looking longer term, climate change is likely pushing demand towards, more water-efficient solutions. Different plants, different ways of managing water.
Right, adapting to new normals.
And then you've got these really interesting demographic shifts. Who's gardening and why?
Like what?
Well, we're seeing more younger people getting their hands dirty. Often it's linked to the grow your own movement.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing.
And, wanting to live a bit more sustainably. Plus, more people living in cities means a bigger need for compact tools, things that work in small spaces.
Balconies, small patios.
Exactly. And we can't forget wellness gardening, this whole idea that gardening is actually good for your mental and physical health.
So our gardens are becoming like these multitasking zones. Food production, relaxation, bit of exercise.
Pretty much sums it up.
Okay, what about rules and regs? Are they shaping the market too?
Oh, definitely. Environmental regulations are a huge driver. They're really pushing cleaner tech.
Battery power, for instance.
Battery power is the prime example, moving away from petrol.
Yeah.
And there's also this growing momentum behind right to repair.
Yes. Making things last longer, easier to fix.
That's the idea. It puts a focus on product longevity, making spare parts available, providing repair info. It lines up nicely with consumers wanting value and sustainability.
Okay, so those are the big background trends. Now, let's drill down into the actual gardening equipment market. Where is this strong growth happening?
Overall, the market's pretty healthy, showing consistent growth. Our tools are doing well, especially lawnmowers. We're talking over 7% annual growth predicted between 2022 and 2027 for those.
Solid.
But the real standout, the accelerator, is robotic mowers, that 11% figure we started with.
Right.
And another area really taking off is handheld power tools, cordless blowers, trimmers, that sort of thing.
That robotic mower growth is still the headline grabber, though. What's the core appeal? Is it just about saving time mowing the lawn?
I think convenience is a big part of it, obviously, but it also taps into this wider trend of automation in our daily lives.
Okay.
People are just getting more comfortable letting tech handle routine chores, frees them up. And the tech itself is getting smarter, more reliable all the time.
And maybe the result is even better. A perfectly manicured lawn without the effort.
For some, yes. That consistent automated cutting can actually lead to a healthier, better-looking lawn.
And it seems pretty clear that the days of petrol power dominating are, numbered.
Oh, absolutely. The shift to cordless to battery power, it's really gone mainstream now.
Why the big shift?
Well, convenience is massive, isn't it? No cords to trip over, no fuel mixing.
Definitely.
Plus, they're so much quieter. Better for you, better for the neighbors, and of course, no emissions at the point of use.
And the performance gap is closing.
Hugely. Battery tech has come on leaps and bounds. For many, many garden tasks, the power and runtime are easily comparable to petrol now.
So it's a win on convenience, environment, and increasingly performance. What about the whole green gardening push? How's that playing out in equipment?
The demand for eco-friendly products, sustainable practices, it's really strong and it keeps growing.
People are actively looking for this stuff.
Yeah, they are. They want to save water, reduce waste, choose products with a lower impact. And linking back to what we said earlier, they care about durability, repairability.
But does it have to cost the earth, so to speak?
That's a really crucial point. It's about affordable sustainability.
Yeah.
People want to make green choices, but those choices have to make sense financially, too.
Right, accessible green options.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everything seems to be getting smart. Is that hitting our gardens, too?
It certainly is. We're seeing more and more smart tech integration.
Like what, specifically?
Things like smart irrigation systems, they adjust watering based on weather forecasts, soil moisture, sensors monitoring soil health, plant needs, AI-powered apps that help you identify pests or diseases.
Wow.
And of course, smart control for those robotic mowers, usually through your phone. Connecting it all up to your smart home system is becoming more common too.
So your phone becomes the garden remote control.
Pretty much. Although with all this connectivity, data privacy is, a consideration, something manufacturers and users need to be aware of.
Good point. So with all this new eco-friendly smart gear, where are people actually buying it? Has the way we shop for garden tools changed?
It's definitely evolving. It looks like a hybrid model is working best.
Online and physical stores?
Exactly. Online is great for convenience, browsing, comparing prices, no doubt. But physical stores, especially the specialist dealers, still play a really important role.
Why is that?
You can see the tools, handle them, get expert advice, and crucially, get that after-sale support, especially for the more complex stuff like the robotic mowers or pro-level gear.
So research online, but for the bigger buys or if you need ongoing help, the local expert is still key.
Makes sense. What about those of us with tiny urban gardens? Is the industry catering for that?
Oh, absolutely. There's a clear recognition of that growing market. Manufacturers are designing tools specifically for urban needs.
Meaning?
Compact, lightweight, versatile, often battery-powered, obviously, for ease of use and storage in tight spaces. Think smaller tools, multi-tools.
Okay, that gives us a really good lay of the land for the UK market overall. Let's switch focus now to one of the biggest names. Stihl, they're everywhere, aren't they? What are their core strengths in this changing landscape?
Stihl has this incredible foundation built over, nearly a century now.
Wow, yeah.
They have this rock-solid reputation for quality, for durability. Their tools are known to last.
That builds a lot of trust, I guess.
Huge amounts. Both professionals and home gardeners trust the brand because they know it's reliable. That heritage is a massive asset.
And their product range? Is it keeping up? It's incredibly comprehensive. They cover pretty much everything you'd need outdoors. Chainsaws, trimmers, mowers, blowers, and yes, importantly, robotic mowers too.
Catering to everyone from homeowners to, forestry pros.
Exactly. And they invest heavily in R&D. Their battery systems are a good example. They've got these distinct platforms, the AS system for smaller jobs, the AK for mid-range versatility, and the AP system, which is really powerful, aimed at the pros.
So different tiers for different needs.
Precisely. And it seems to be working for them. They reported strong double-digit growth here in the UK in late 2024.
Double digits.
Yeah.
In this market, that's impressive.
It is. They put it down to new products, good sales work, bit of help from the weather maybe, and crucially, that dealer network they have.
Right, that network again.
Yeah.
So how are Stihl strategically tackling these big trends we talked about, like the massive shift to battery?
Well, as those tiered systems show, they've made a huge commitment to battery tech. They're not just dipping a toe in. They're offering a really wide range of cordless options.
Positioning themselves for the future.
Clearly, trying to lead that transition away from petrol for many applications.
And what about robotics, the IMOW range? How significant is that for them?
It's definitely significant. The IMOW is their offering in that booming robotic mower market. They've got app control, the MY IMO app for smart scheduling and adjustments.
Smart home integration tool?
Some integration, yeah.
Yeah.
Alexa compatibility, for instance. But a key strategic advantage for Stihl here...
Let me guess. The dealers.
You got it. That dealer network provides vital support for installation, setup, ongoing service. That's a huge deal for customers investing in a robot mower.
Mhm.
It takes away a lot of the potential hassle.
That dealer support really does keep coming up. It sounds absolutely central to their strategy.
It seems to be.
What about sustainability and repairability, that
Sure.
growing consumer demand?
This is where Still's history really plays in their favor. Their core philosophy has always been about making tools that last, tools that can be repaired.
So it's not just a recent greenwashing thing.
Not at all. They've long had a policy of providing spare parts for years, often a decade or more, after a tool is discontinued. It fits perfectly with right to repair and what eco-conscious buyers want now. It's baked into their DNA, you could say.
That's quite a strength. And the smart garden trend, how are they playing there beyond the IMOW app?
They have something called Stihl Connected. It's mainly geared towards professional users, fleet management tracking tools, maintenance schedules, that kind of thing.
So more B2B focused on the connectivity side.
Primarily, yes. Their current smart offerings seem very much focused on the tools themselves, like with the MYIMOE app for the robots.
Okay, and let's just hammer this home. Why is this network, over 700 approved dealers in the UK, so incredibly important for Stihl?
Because they're so much more than just shops. They are hubs of expertise.
Right.
They provide that expert advice to match the right tool to the job. They do the pre-delivery checks, make sure it's all set up correctly.
And the after sales.
Crucial. Maintenance, repairs. Using genuine parts, done by trained people. That local support structure is just invaluable, especially as the tech gets more complex. You can't easily replicate that online.
No, that personal advice and reliable backup is hard to beat. What about the urban gardeners we mentioned? Does that still have specific tools for smaller spaces?
Yes, they do. They have a dedicated range called Tools for Small Gardens, built around that AS battery system.
Examples.
Things like the GTA 26, which is a small cordless pruner, the HSA 26 cordless shears, and even a compact cordless mower, the RMA 235. All designed to be lightweight, easy to handle, easy to store.
Okay, so if you had to sum it up, what's Still's main competitive edge in this shifting market?
I think it's that powerful combination. You've got the brand reputation, that deep trust built on quality and durability.
Right.
Then there's their product range, especially how they've embraced battery and robotics, add in their ongoing innovation, and underpinning it all is that extensive, knowledgeable dealer network providing that essential support.
It really sounds like those dealers, places like TV hire and sales perhaps, are fundamental, more than just retail points.
Absolutely. They act as genuine one-stop shops. Consultation, sales, servicing, parts, repairs, all by trained technicians.
That human touch.
Exactly. That local, expert human element is a massive differentiator, especially now. It builds trust, long-term relationships. When you buy complex tech, knowing that support is right there, that's incredibly valuable.
It's a blend then. Strong products meeting local expertise. Looking forward, based on the analysis, what were the key strategic recommendations for Stihl to keep winning?
Well, several things stood out. Keep pushing the battery tech forward, that's crucial. Continue developing the IMOW range. Maybe look at things like wire-free operation, which competitors like Husqvarna are doing with their NERA system.
Keep innovating in robotics.
Yes, and expand the solutions specifically for urban gardening. Maybe even explore water-efficient tools more actively.
Okay, so product development focus. What about the smart tech side?
The suggestion there was to potentially create a more unified smart garden app experience, rather than just tool-specific apps.
More integrated.
Yeah, and explore wider compatibility with other smart home platforms, like the Matter standard, while always keeping data security front and center.
Makes sense. And leveraging their existing strengths.
Definitely amplify the message around sustainability and repairability. That's a core strength they should shout about. Target key demographics effectively. Keep hammering home the long-term value of their products.
And the dealers.
Showcase their excellence. Invest in more advanced training for them. Give them better digital tools to help them run their businesses. Support those one-stop shop capabilities. Maybe even help foster some community engagement around the dealerships.
So doubling down on their core values and network while embracing the future. Okay, let's try and bring this all together. What are the key takeaways for you, our listener, from this deep dive?
I think the main thing is that the UK gardening market is really dynamic. It's changing fast. Battery power, robotics, sustainability, smart tech. These aren't niche things anymore. They're mainstream drivers.
And Still's place in all that.
Stihl looks very well positioned. They've got the brand strength. They're innovating in the right areas like battery and robotics, and they have that incredibly valuable dealer network providing the support customers need. They seem set to capitalize on these trends.
Okay. And just to leave you with something to think about, as tech gets ever more woven into our gardens, what other parts of gardening might be completely transformed in the next few years? And maybe more importantly, what role will good old-fashioned human knowledge and expertise still play in our green spaces?
Good question to ponder.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.